Hi guys, welcome back to the channel and to number one, a mini video, which I know you've all been missing, and number two, the Clubman. So in the Himley video, if you've seen that, I hope you have. If not, go check it out. British Mini Club do some great shows. That was one of them. I mentioned that I tried to get this car for the second year to the event and it decided to have its fueling faults again. Bit baffling because it had done 50-60 miles perfectly fine a few days prior to that, but then it's developed the same problems again. Let's get into it and let's try and diagnose what is wrong with it. And I said there'd be some future videos on the car because I've made a few decisions regarding it. So let's get into it. Right, while I sit in here and enjoy my brew, let's make a bit of a game plan. On the floor, you'll see, I've got a few things to try and work out what's wrong with this. I think I know I think I know where it's going to go, but we might as well diagnose it. We might as well diagnose it together and genuinely just see what we can do with it, really. So basically, what it's doing is it's basically not starting. It's not getting fuel. Then it gets fuel and then it doesn't get fuel, so that to me says there's obviously a fueling fault. It's got a very healthy spark, so we're not going to check that in this video because I've done that off camera. Very good spark, so there's definitely a fueling fault. What I want to do in this video is try a few things. So the main thing I want to try and do is hook up a fuel tank, fuel can, and go from there. Right, so before we get properly stuck into this video, remember to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and drop in the comments on what you think I should do with this car, and what your views are moving forward. Would you like to see a little bit more of this car? Yeah, make sure you subscribe or you won't see anything. Down below in the description is other ways you can help the channel out. There's merch and there's like Patreon and there's the YouTube membership. I don't like pushing that, I'm not a beggar, but if you'd like to, that's great. But what we want to do really is achieve what's wrong with this car, isolate the problem. There's a discount code on the screen now from our good friends at Minimine for 10% off when you spend £15 or more on their eBay store. Now go and use that. It's a good way to help the channel out, but also I want to help you out and it gets you some parts discounted. So go and check them out, guys. All the bits in here I've got from Minimine. Just bought some fuel line from bits and pieces just to try and diagnose what this problem is. Let's get stuck into it. Right, so first off, I always forget this. When I pull the cover off, I always go, oh, I forgot the car was vandalised. So that always conveniently just drops down as well where you need it. Right, in here, just very quickly, it is your basic 998. It isn't the engine standard, it's a numbers matching car. Carburetor's is not standard, that horrible pump's not standard. Yeah, that's where we're at with this car. Teamed with the fact that this car obviously has a fueling fault, we'll get onto the other faults and the potential plans. But first of all, let's put a battery back on it, see if she'll even start. Watch it start now on camera. Watch that happen. It's going to happen, isn't it? It very nearly started though, didn't it? So this has literally been sat since May, which is when the show was. I'm filming this kind of end of July, so that just goes to show you that it's tried to start straight away, and it might confirm again what I think the problem is with the car. So first thing we're going to do there is, you saw it try to fire, it did kind of fire, idled for a bit and shut off. Cranked it again, everyone's going to be screaming saying I flooded it. Now I will check that. I haven't flooded it, I know I probably haven't, but we will check that. So first thing I'm going to do is we're going to just see if there's any fuel in the float bowl. I need to find a sensible place for you guys to sit. Right, so this is what the first thing we're going to do is pull that breather up out of the way. And we're just going to get involved in here to see if the fuel pump is even cranking fuel. Now I've had the theory that where the car is now parked, it's parked so the fuel would run back, and maybe the pump's not powerful enough because that's not meant to be here. and maybe that's causing the problem. So if I turn the car around, maybe it would start. Gravity, you know, science, basic science. I don't know, just a theory. There you go, that's confirmed. It's not getting fuel, so therefore has not flooded. So in there, there's a teeny tiny bit at the bottom. Now that should be full. I fully cranked that round, and it obviously isn't. Also, you can see the sheer amount of sediment in the bottom of there. That has been cleaned out from when I tried to get it run the last time. Like mentioned, I did put quite a bit of effort into trying to get this to run the last time. I had the full carburetor off about 12 times, cleaned everything out, put it all back together, and it's still pumping rubbish through. Now there is a fuel filter you see on there as well. Again, not good positioning, it was purely a test mock-up thing. And it's cranked quite a lot of rubbish through to it, but it's still not enough. So in there, I'll just run through on the carburetor. So I've put a new float and a new float valve in there, so that's all moving, doing as it should. That isn't blocked, so you can see that on there. But there is still quite a bit of sediment getting into this. Now it's passing through there, that's not really properly filling up, so the fuel delivery to me isn't happening. So it could be my theory of it, it's a really weak pump, but it is enough to power fuel from this tank. It's ran on this for 6 years, or a variant of this. I've got a couple of these now. So what I'll do is I'll put this back on here, and we'll get a fuel line, and we'll try and get a fuel line, bypass this tank, a fuel line onto there, and confirm if this is the case. Now, if this is the case, it shows that there's a problem with the tank further back. Probably needs dropping, probably does need cleaning. This one does have a drain plug in it, so we could drain it. I already made a decision, and I've bought a few more bits, so I'm going to put a new sender unit in it. The fuel gauge never worked. There's power to it, so it's the sender that's gone. So while the tank's out, I'll put a new sender in it, stuff like that. But we'll get on to the rest of the idea. But I think the first point of call is we need to be able to drive this to the unit to be able to do what I want to do with it. So I need to clean the fuel tank out. Now I'm not going to do that in this video, but I want to just try and prove this concept that if it is the gauze in the fuel tank that's blocked, that's what's potentially stopping this from running properly, or that's over time it's dropping back. So I'll run through while I'm setting this tank up of what I did last time and why it started to run again. It's run for another year happily. So we'll work this out, we'll get there.
29 and I find myself wondering what did happen to the last 10. I ran away with my life, fast forward, never turn back again.
Right, so
it's kind of funny
fuel tank roughly in position. The fuel tank obviously sits behind the wheel there on these long wheelbase minis, but I've got a long, kind of not even straight, I've not even made an effort. I want it to be the hardest possible point for this pump to struggle, basically, to pull it up, to prove the concept that the tank's the problem. So we've got it all running up here, up into here, pull the pipe off, and then it goes up into that stupid pump. We'll deal with a conversation about that in a second, but let me pop you guys down and let's see if it fires up. Or we're saying no. So the fuel filter's not even filling up. That's definitely able to get some fuel. Let's see if we can get that filter to fill up. Hopefully. Maybe prove my concept here. Nope. Right, we're going to try another tactic. I'm going to put some fuel in the float bowl to get the car to run, see if it's enough to cause a vacuum to pour that round. Back in 2 secs. Right, so the float bowl now has some fuel in it. I'm hoping with a bit of fuel, car running, it will give a bit of vacuum to pull it through. So the engine's running. So in theory it'll run until that's run out. So it's not picking fuel up. So while it's running, so the pump's working and it is starting to drip a bit of fuel in. Very, very slightly, you can't even see that, there's a bit of fuel going in there. Right, let's knock that annoying thing off. Right, so what have we learned? Right, so that was a very quick experiment. I appreciate it's probably going to be a little bit of a boring video, but people have asked where the car is, people have asked what the problem is. So basically, long and short of it, this is the problem we had before. So it's a fuel starvation problem. The one argument is that fuel pump's horrendous, they're crap. I've got multiple of them stupid electric pumps now because they have broken over time, but the car has always ran. We've been to Goodwood and back, which for us is a 500-mile round trip. We've been to Bristol and back in it, and we've done quite a lot of driving locally with the car. Admittedly not enough recently, which is why I want to get it back out and used it. But it's always started. It's always been that car that me and Mrs. S go, that'll run, and it just fires into life and trundles out the unit, or we take it down the road. It's always been a good car. Now, the fuel pump is a problem. I hate it where it is. It shouldn't be there. The washer bottle should be there. It should be running on a mechanical pump on the back of the block. Now, that's blanked off. The mechanical pump, I get asked all the time, just swap it back. I have put 4 different mechanical pumps on the car, 2 of which are genuine SU ones. Both come out of working cars. Well, one was brand new and one came out of a working car, and then I've tried 2 cheap ones as well. Probably more than that over the years as well, but I think it's at least 4 that I've tried. The dog's trying to fix now. There's always a bit that it won't pick up fuel. Doesn't matter how I adjust the timing, how I adjust the fueling, it's something wrong potentially with the cam, and the cam lobe is not picking up on it. It's just not working. So that's always why we've just left the electric pump, because in the vehicle, because of this basically, because it's run and drove for 6 years we've had the car nearly. I think at least that actually, and it's always run and drove fine, so we've left it. Now, if I could have got the car running long enough, I would have shown you, but what I will do is try and insert a video clip now that when I did get it running and I thought, yes, we're going to Himley, of what the actual state of the engine is. You probably heard the timing chain then is rattling really badly, always has done on this car. It's always been a point of concern. It's got quite a bad water leak, which I think is the water pump, which is not a big job again. It's had one already, it's on its second now. So it could just be a gasket, it could be a failed pump. But without the sound of the chain going, you can't hear the pump bearings are gone or anything like that. So that's just going to say it's changed. So I want to keep this car. Like I say, I have been offered money for it in the last 6 months, and I've turned both 2 or 3 offers at least down, because I don't really know what the car's worth and I don't really want to sell it. So I've turned it down, but if I keep it, I've got to make it more usable. So the originality I want to keep is the looks. It's always going to look like this. I don't want to restore it. It annoys people, I know that, but I love the patina. I think it's going to be very, very hard for me to live with this car a bit of shiny white, not to mention the sheer cost of the restoration. They're very expensive to restore long wheelbase minis anyway, and estates even more so with all the frames and stuff. Now this is a very solid car in its own right, and it's in the right places. Happy to look underneath it anytime at a show. It's very solid underneath, and it would pass an MOT absolutely fine. Admittedly, it hasn't been MOT for a few years, it is exempt, but it also has only done about 300 miles in the last 12 months at least, if that. Which is part and parcel of the car. It needs to be used, which is causing the problem. So, the plan. Right, so this brings me onto the plan for the car. If you're not left the video and gone on and watched something more enjoyable. So the plan with this car, keep the looks. My first point of call is I've got an engine. You'll see it in a future video. And I'm planning on swapping it. Now, it's not the correct engine for the vehicle. It is a 998, but it's not a remote change, it's a rod change car, so a later engine. You can buy an adapter bracket and put it in, it's not a problem. I'm not bothered by the engine essentially right now being original. I'm never going to get rid of this engine. I will look to have it rebuilt in the future. Maybe it might be my first engine rebuild on the channel. We've got like the Amazon one to deal with later down the line, and this might be one. It is something I want to keep a numbers matching car, but right now I just want to drive the car. It can't just sit here, I have to use it. The main reason we're doing this is, number one, we need to clean the fuel system out. So there's plenty of fuel in the car before people are typing that. The fuel system's obviously a problem, so the tank needs to come out. I've already bought all the bits to do that, put a new sender unit in, so we might do that and try and get it to the unit on its original engine. But you can see from that video that I inserted, it's breathing very heavily. It's got a very, very heavy crankcase pressure. You can see that through the smoke coming out of there. Also, no one's driven this car apart from me and Mrs. S. It's really smoky. The rings are gone. So I can keep fight with this fuel system, but essentially it's still going to make the car quite unpleasant to drive. So the engine is being swapped. That is going to come in a later video. You're going to enjoy the video, fingers crossed, if it goes to plan. So we'll get onto that later down the line, so make sure you subscribe for that. So that's the plan with this. We're going to swap the engine, put a later engine in it, drive it, enjoy it. It will still look the same. While I'm at it, I'm going to upgrade the brakes. I'm going to get rid of the drums off the front, put discs at the front. So I'm going to do a Cooper S 7.5 conversion, put the wider drums on the back and stuff like that, and make it stop and go loads better. I want to do the IMM next year in it. I want to enjoy it for the rest of what we've got left of this year, maybe. I don't know. So that's the plan of this car. So as a bonus feature, I'm going to let you know what's going on with the sidewalk, because there hasn't been much mini content on the channel, and I'd like to just tell you why. I don't care what you say, this thing looks cool. It just looks cool, this car. It looks ace. Look at that patina. Right, incredibly poor light, but I haven't sold the sidewalk. It is here. Now, it is absolutely just covered in crap. Yes, and unfortunately, almost being forgotten about a little bit. So we tried to MOT this before the German IMM. Me and Chapman did a bit of work to it. I'd done some work to it prior, but the steering rack was causing a massive issue, and the gearbox has been on borrowed time. Now, driving back from my friend's house, it started letting go of second gear. It started grinding. The clutch release bearing's now gone. There's a lot of problems with this car that need mechanical sympathy and a bit of care. Also need a fair amount of money to do the gearbox. Now, I've got a good friend, Alex, that has said he'll do a gearbox. You have seen a video of him in it. He did the Paul Smith gearbox with Matt. He got to see a bit more of that, but I'd like to do one with Alex and film it with you guys. So I'm collecting some bits for this car slowly but surely, but right now it's off the road. I need a bit of a break from it. It's been on the road for like 7-8 years now flat, and it needs a break. So that is why I'd like to get the Clubman estate on the road. I'm not giving up on minis, don't think that. I've just got a lot of stuff on, and I would like to enjoy the estate because it's practical, it's tax-free, which is nice, and yeah, this is the plan. So we're going to shelve the sidewalk for a bit. Mrs. S's Mini is going to come to the channel. We've bought quite a bit of stuff like wiring loom, headliner, that sort of stuff. Just time. So the channel at the moment is going to be focused on getting this car on the road and my 245 Volvo. I've overwhelmed myself in the past with loads of projects, and they're the projects we want to work on. So gonna have to like patina, guys. There's a lot of it coming. Make sure you subscribe, give this video a thumbs up. Sorry if it's been boring, but please bear with me. The minis are coming, and you can see why I'm fighting it a little bit. I've been fighting this on and off for a few years now, and I've bitten a bullet. it's time to get rid of that engine. Let's get something fun in it for now so we can enjoy it. Catch you soon, guys. Make sure you subscribe. Stay tuned for more. Leyland is back out on the road very, very soon. I love this car. Look at it. It's just so cool.